Good afternoon, 2-laners. We are here in the Thrashing Garage. We've got a special project we're going to work on, and we're going to have you watch us through the entire thing. This is a 2019 Softail. It has a Stage 4 Harley build on it. So we're going to take off this exhaust and do what?
Yeah, we're taking the stock exhaust off. We're going to add a Cobra El Diablo. It's going to be great. The sound's going to be great. He's going to love it. First steps, we'll start taking off the exhaust shields and the battery cover.
So all the Cobra exhaust systems comes with a really nice detailed instruction sheet. Still not that hard to install, but read the instructions, check it out. This bike is so new, it's only got 800 miles on it. We're probably going to be okay with the retention clips and the gaskets. It does say you can use the ones that are in your bike, but if you have an older bike, you might want to inspect those and change them.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So we're going to start by taking the battery cover off. Need a 5/32 wrench there. We'll end up taking the controls off, and then we're going to have Josh pull off the guards. Can't wait for him to do that because there's so many screws to get to. Yeah. All right, first step is we got our 5/32 snap-on tool. We're going to take off the battery cover.
And the reason you want to take off the battery covers is that's where your O2 sensors are plugged in.
That's right. Some guys leave them on.
Yeah, you
can
could
just wind them.
That's right here.
But
There's one right here. O2 sensor.
Sometimes it's easier to just take them off, you know. This bike is so new. Is there a scratch on it yet?
No, we might put one on it though.
All right, so we located the O2 sensor plug. We're going to unplug that so we can get going on taking the sensor out of the bung. All right, now that we've got the sensors unhooked, we're going to start taking off the heat shields, and this is 5/16. Got to unwind them all the way. You got a bunch of these located up and down the pipe.
Kind of like a pit crew here.
So now we're taking off the O2 sensors using a 9/16 wrench. Usually start it, then I usually undo them by hand, a little bit easier.
We're taking the slip-on section of this off. Get rid of that. The more we take off, the easier it gets. And since it's such a new bike, nothing's like stuck or rusted on. Everything's coming off no problem. And it's kind of cool that Harley you can buy the bike now with the GoPro comes with it. So here we go with one of the slip-ons.
So we need the 145 torque for the foot controls. We need to remove those. We can't get this taken off without dropping this down a little bit.
Those are in there. Jeez.
That ain't coming anywhere.
It was from what I did.
Yeah, of course.
Got a little extra leverage on that. These things can be in there tight. So we're going to be taking the head bolts out, and that is a 1/2 inch with a swivel on an extension and a 1/4 inch drive because you'll be able to get it up in there pretty easy. It's still kind of a pain.
Swivel jammer. Taking the rear head bolts off as well. Finishing up on the rear here, make sure you keep that hardware in a good place because you're going to reuse it. And then when we pull this off, we're really going to take a look at the gasket in there and see if it does need to be replaced. We don't think it does, but we'll take a look.
And it's also a good idea when you take parts off, keep them organized on your station. So
front,
comes off, you
front,
can put
rear,
it back, you know.
Bingo. They look good?
Yeah, they look great. Like I say, this engine is so brand new, 800 miles, so we're probably going to use those. So we're inspecting this right here. This is the gasket. It's on the outer edge, and that gasket looks really good. So we're just going to leave it in there.
All right, so we got the flange here, and we got the retention clips. So we just move those, and then we can pop that sucker off. We'll go back and do the rear now.
This is a flange, which goes on, then the retention clip, then you can reinstall the pipe.
What are you eating?
Some kind of tuna. It's pretty good.
And we just got the rear done. We're going to take that sucker off. Bingo. keep your parts all together, and we're going to reuse those.
So when you're putting the flange on, you want to put it on and have the groove facing to the head. And you put the new clip on. And one thing to remember, a lot of people don't do this, is as you're putting these parts on and tightening the bolts on, don't tighten it. Put them on, get the bolts on, get basically the whole thing ready before you snug it up, because you always want to you want to have room to shift it around or set the pipe up where it's supposed to be.
For sure.
And remember, you can take your bike to a mechanic and have them do it. We're just a couple of dudes fighting and struggling and wrestling, but we get it done.
Got it. Finally.
And that goes back to the thing that I always say. If you work on your bike, you know your bike. And if something happens on the road, you might be able to help yourself out or have friends that can help yourself out. That's why I like doing little things.
Check little things. See if things are tight, it's pretty simple.
So put the O2 sensors in while you have the pipe off. That way you don't have to mess with it when it's in its position. You can get it nice and snug and you're ready to go.
So we call it rebunging.
Rebunging the bung. So we have the head pipes into the heads. Bolts are in, but they're left not, they're hand tight. We'll put the collector on, but before we put the collector on, we're getting rid of the bracket here that actually has the foot peg in
For the
it.
rear control.
So yeah, we're going to lose that right now.
The old exhaust bracket.
And that's a 5/16 Allen head. And it'll take this big bracket off.
And we're going to replace it with this beauty here. Beauty Bob.
Last bolt, and what we're going to do is we're going to clean out the holes a little bit. And we're probably going to use some red Loctite on this. And again, I kind of find it strange that this mount actually comes with a GoPro. Like, it's all part of the deal. That's like really great.
Look, how many?
I think this
Tie
is
strap, tie
this is
down.
a bracket for the vlogger, moto vloggers.
Oh, Josh could use that and go.
Yeah.
This is a new bracket that Cobra puts in the kit. It's going to relocate your peg, passenger peg, but put red Loctite on it, and we're going to crimp it down and get to work. All right, so we got the pipes on, we got the bracket off, and the new bracket installed. We're going to put the collector on. Make sure that the kit has 2 exhaust clamps. We'll get this collector moving, tightened down, so we can get on to the next step of mounting the rest of the exhaust. So there you have it. Looking good. Unwind those clamps so they'll fit over the top, and then we'll tighten them down.
So we're reinstalling the passenger peg mount, and you need a long extended torque to do it because of the length of the. So we happen to have one here, and we're good to go. Bingo. We always put anti-seize on the pipes where they connect. It just makes it a lot nicer. So later when you're trying to take it off, you're not ripping your arms off and
Pulling your hair out.
yeah, this just.
Make sure your clamps, you've got this one facing up, and you got the bottom facing down so you can get to those bolts and tighten them. Boom. And we're on. And we're ready to tighten down.
I am tightening on the tailpipe onto the bracket here, just getting it set, and we're going to kind of adjust it around. They're in there, so it's set. Now we can try and put this back
So
in.
we'll get the collector back on, and then we'll start working our way from the front to the rear and start tightening all this up. It's been really fun today. We've had Rob, we have Rob.
Hey,
People
Rob's
dropping
good.
in the shop here as we're working on this thing, but we got everything set up, and what we're doing right now is we're starting from the front cylinder, and we're going to tighten that down. You don't want any bind on that exhaust, and then we'll work our way back, and heat shields will be next.
And then we're ready for action. Fire that baby up and go to town.
Boom. All right, so we're getting these collector clamps tight, nice and snug. Lance, what do you got going?
I'll just tighten up the muffler here.
How much is Josh paying us to install?
Right?
Is this the free vid that he's doing here? We love our guy. We'll do it for free, man.
So one thing that happens, you always get a lot of people and a lot of faces that walk into this building here, and we all have a good time, and everything always gets done, even if we're goofing around and having a good time.
Yep. Run it for a little bit and then bring it back and make sure you go through and tighten. This one's fun. So as you can see, we're starting to put the heat shields on. Lance is going to show you the back side of this.
The longest one here has the 3 hose clamps. This one had 2, this one has 1, and it just keeps you protected. It gives you that nice look, nice bold look. And so we're on the end here. We have to wrap it up with this one, put this back where it's supposed to be, and I think we're good to go. And then we're going to fire it up.
Yeah, and make sure, you know, when you put these in, they're faced to where you can actually get to them.
Yeah.
If they're faced the wrong way, you're going to have trouble trying to just get on them with a screwdriver or a wrench. Where'd you come from?
Hey, you know,
Look, we got everything put back together. We even found this GoPro with this funky setup here.
we put some new Thrashing Canyon pegs on the passenger there.
Yeah, it's gonna be stoked.
And this is for the sound test. You'll have a before and after sound test. Everything's good. Galen's gonna button it up right here.
Yep, we're just gonna finalize and we're putting the cover back on.
I think we did it in pretty good time.
Took us about an hour and a half, right?
Mm-hmm. So, you know.
And Josh actually put his hands on this bike.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, we gotta put the, ooh, glad I put my hand on there.
Yeah, boys.
We gotta button up the foot control.
So, we are finished with the install. We had young Rob and older Rob and Sam and Josh. We all had a little bit of input here, but it took us about an hour and a half.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
So, we're gonna lower it off the lift, and then Josh is going to rip down the street on it.
Rob is or Josh?
Josh.
And just so you know, this is our shop attire. We both wear the same shirts. He's got gray pants, I've got gray shorts.
Hat, uniform.
2LaneLife Garage.
You know.
So, great stuff. Cobra, thank you for the setup.
Look at
you're
the
gonna
look.
love that. Yeah, check this out. El
Nice
Diablo. Okay, 2-into-1 instead of the 2-into-2.
So we're an hour and a half in. We got it all buttoned up. I think Josh is going to be real happy, and I hope you guys, did you like the sound hearing that? It was great, wasn't it? You got both before and after.
Yeah, he was super stoked when he pulled back in the parking lot and said it sounds great and it rips. So guys, remember, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, give some comments, and watch our vlog next week.
See you soon.
Exhaust, yeah. Rawr, rawr. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You talk more like this. We have Josh Scheiden.
As you all know, we run Cobra exhaust too.
Let's do it again.
Whoa!
One of the real important things when you're doing exhaust is you've got to make sure the flux capacitor is tight. And once that's tight, you're good to go back to the future.
Because the vortex creates a bit of a dampening configuration.
Yeah, as soon as you get to the 88 miles an hour, boom, you're gone.